Hey everybody, welcome back to the 414 for February 22nd, 2017. I'm your host, Rusty, and today we're going to be talking about Shinsuke Nakamura calling out AJ Styles, the Raw Women's Division, and the plans going into and through WrestleMania. Also, the WWE is not too thrilled with The Rock right now after his little antics on Monday night after Raw. All that along with this day in wrestling history and your viewer questions coming to us here on the 414.
To the last defender.
All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the 414. And if you are watching this at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon, I want to remind you that you can get in on the action much earlier than this for as little as $1. All you've got to do is head on over to the Patreon page. The link is in the description down below. And every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, you are going to get the 414 delivered to you through Patreon, probably around 12 hours early, if not 10, give or take. Rendering time seems to go a little bit long these days, especially since we talk quite a bit about wrestling as we go through here. WrestleMania season's coming up. The news itself starts flowing on in, but you can get in for as little as $1, pledging to the 414. That'll get you early access to every episode of the 414 going forward. But let's get right into the news for the day. The first story we've got, and we touched on it in the opener here, the Raw Women. Now, first noted by Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer weeks ago that the plan was for Bayley to capture the title at WrestleMania. That is where she was supposed to win it first. But obviously that hasn't happened. She won it just this past Monday night, 2 Monday nights ago now, on Monday Night Raw. Charlotte, once again, does not win on Monday Night Raw. We saw what happened with Bayley and Charlotte. They're going into Fastlane. They're going to be having a title match together. So it looks like, with the WWE touting Charlotte's pay-per-view winning streak in singles competition, that Charlotte might be winning the belt once again at Fastlane. And then Bayley picks it up at WrestleMania, thus finally ending Charlotte's pay-per-view reign. However, it's noted that after WrestleMania, the plan has been for Bayley to defend the championship in her hometown of San Jose at the WWE Payback pay-per-view. But the way things are looking as far as the women's title picture right now, it looks as if you're going to have Sasha Banks, you're going to have Nia Jax, you're going to have Charlotte in a fatal four-way for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania. Bayley might squeak one out. She might pin Sasha. She might pin Charlotte. She could pin Nia Jax. We're not quite sure how everything is going to go down, but that does seem to be the way that things are rolling through, especially since you see Payback is going to be at San Jose. Let's hope it's not another flip-flop where, Bayley wins or loses at Fastlane, wins at WrestleMania, and then loses in her hometown, which does happen quite a bit inside of a WWE ring. We see that happen. You either win or you lose. It depends upon if you have the title or not. If you don't have the title, you win in your hometown. If you have the title, you lose in your hometown. So it's going to be interesting to see what goes on. And if you didn't catch it, yesterday, I talked with Jose Bermudez from the Wrestling Times podcast. He's also part of the Next End Turn. Go check that out. If you click the link up, just click on the screen, and you'll see a little eye up in the corner up there. And you'll see it says how to fix the Raw Women's Division. I talked with Jose at length for about a good 35 minutes on how to fix Raw's Women's Division. We've got a lot of good ideas, and the first one is we need a 200-day title reign. It has to happen at some point. The longest Raw Women's title reign so far with the red and white belt has been 127 days. Everything else has been much shorter than that, and we need to have a lengthy title reign. We need to stop the flip-flop, because if Charlotte wins at Fastlane, that will make her a 5-time Raw Women's Champion inside of 1 year. That's a lot of back and forth for the belt. It's a lot of back and forth that makes the belt look not that good. It's already bad enough on SmackDown that we had the belt go to Becky, and then it went to Alexa Bliss, and then it went to Naomi, and then had to go back to Alexa Bliss. We've had four different runs now leading into WrestleMania in a very short amount of time on SmackDown, and Raw has had more, and it needs to stop. We need to have a lengthy title reign going on. Not just a lot of title reigns, but one nice lengthy title reign. I would consider Nikki Bella probably a better champion right now than Charlotte, just because of the fact that, yes, she's the longest reigning Divas title holder in WWE history. She held it for, over 300 days. That lays some credence to what's going on. She defended it during that time as well. And, went through face turns, heel turns, all that kind of stuff within a year. She did it. She made it work. The WWE made it work. Yes, they were trying to get rid of AJ Lee's title because of everything that was going on with Punk, and we'll get into that in a minute. But we know that at least there was some defenses going on there. Yes, the women's division is good right now as far as they defend the belt. They wrestle. There's matches every week. That's good. But the flip-flopping has to absolutely stop. I'm not stoked about a fatal four-way going into WrestleMania for the Raw women's belt, but I guess if you've got to do something with your entire roster of women at WrestleMania, you might as well throw all of the active women into one match going in there. Let's hope Bayley comes out on top. Unfortunately, that means we might see 2 more title changes through WrestleMania. The next story that we're going to talk about here, we're going to talk about The Rock for a second. If you didn't know, The Rock showed up at Monday Night Raw. He is currently filming the story of Paige's rise and her family. Paige's rise into the WWE, and they were taping some matches. They needed a live audience in order to do this. So, they taped a match of Paige versus AJ Lee, the actors doing Paige versus AJ Lee, that is, with the live audience there, did some stuff. Now, when the cameras were all up and rolling and people had their cell phones out, The Rock decided to do something that Vince isn't too happy with. He called CM Punk. Picked up the phone, joked about the fact that I hope that the WWE isn't going to cut off my microphone because this is a WWE film. They're helping fund this little venture that is going on with The Rock. We mentioned that on the 414 about a week or so back. And he called CM Punk, said, "Hey, how you doing? Staples Center wants to say hi." The whole Staples Center's chanting CM Punk all the way through. But the WWE wasn't thrilled about that. Rumor has it that Vince was steaming backstage, that Punk's name was even brought up. For those that don't know, there's a lot of bad blood. Punk left in 2014 on really bad terms. He left the show and went home. He left Ohio, went back to Chicago, and he was done. And since then, he's had some not so nice words about Triple H and Vince McMahon on Colt Cabana's podcast. Several weeks ago, Stephanie McMahon took a big shot at CM Punk as people were chanting, the name during an episode of Raw. Basically said, hey, keep it up. It'll last longer than how long Punk lasted in the ring, things like that. So they keep going on back and forth. And along with that, there's still a lawsuit going on between WWE Dr. Chris Amon and CM Punk, with the ongoing belief that Punk's side of things, or I should say Amon's side of things in the case, is being bankrolled by the WWE. So The Rock calling Punk is one thing, but Punk did respond. He said, "I'm walking my dog right now." And then he tweeted out to everybody at the Staples Center, "Hey, nice hearing from you." So at least he was nice in that regard. He hasn't forgotten that he does have fans that are out there that do want to see him come back, and he could so be that missing piece that missing piece in the WWE that we so desperately need right now on Monday Night Raw. Man, you could bring back CM Punk and you could see those battles with Samoa Joe, or he could just come back as the heel. The heel CM Punk is always good. I kind of like him as the tweener. That's just me. In WrestleMania news, Shinsuke Nakamura started making some waves today. It was reported on Yahoo Sports Japan. They had an article with comments from Shinsuke Nakamura he made during a recent media conference call. He stated that he would like to face AJ Styles if the opportunity came up. He noted that right now Styles doesn't have an opponent for WrestleMania 33. Not at the moment. He's got to face Luke Harper first next week on SmackDown, but he would like to fill that spot, and he believes that he's achieved a lot in the WWE, but noted that there's much more to do. The exact translation of what we've got here is, if the WrestleMania opportunity presented itself, I want to do it. AJ doesn't have an opponent yet. I'd like to fill that spot. I've achieved a lot this year, but there's much more to do. I want to make more strides over the next year and show my true ability. Shinsuke is rumored to be coming up around WrestleMania time, and he has really been in NXT only to get used to the theatrics and how camera work is done and how ring entrances are done and how the WWE style is done over New Japan Pro Wrestling here in the United States. Now, AJ Styles did respond to Shinsuke Nakamura in character on Twitter, saying that the match isn't going to happen because he's going to walk out of the Battle Royal as the SmackDown Live #1 contender, which now we all know has to go to next week against Luke Harper. So it's going to be interesting to see what does happen now leading into WrestleMania. Shinsuke Nakamura saying he wants AJ Styles. AJ Styles being the cocky AJ Styles that he is, hey, I'm going to be the #1 contender. And now we got to wait another week to see what is going on inside of the WWE with a couple of the two top guys that are there that have come over from New Japan Pro Wrestling. I would say AJ Styles, not a bust. Shinsuke Nakamura, not a bust. The club, unfortunately, is a bust, and we all know that. But let's talk about what we always talk about at this time. It is this day in wrestling history, and we're going to go back 24 years ago to 1993. Was an episode of Monday Night Raw from New York City. Hulk Hogan returned once again for the first time since his disqualification victory over Sid at WrestleMania 8. Finally made his way back to television. Formed an alliance with his longtime best friend Brutus the Barber Beefcake. They aligned, they called themselves the Mega Maniacs, and they had Jimmy Hart as his manager. The rest of that show had Bam Bam Bigelow defeating Scott Taylor. Tatanka and the Nasty Boys defeated Shawn Michaels and the Beverly Brothers. Crush defeated Terry Taylor. And The Undertaker defeated Skinner. The match itself ended after the show went off the air. Pretty crazy for a Monday Night Raw going on in 1993. We're going to take a look at, of course, we like to talk about championships inside of this. And 17 years ago today, at a SmackDown taping in Nashville, Tennessee, Crash Holly defeated Test to win the WWF Hardcore Championship. The ever-famed and very ugly Hardcore Championship. Following that match, Crash Holly put it out there for the world. I'm going to defend this title 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As long as there is a referee present, a match can be had under hardcore rules, and that's where the 24/7 rule came into play. The championship would change hands over 200 times before it was finally retired in August of 2002. Let's bring this around to something current. Unfortunately, we don't have a 414 reference for today, but we can go 7 years ago today on Raw from Indianapolis. Maryse, who is now embattled in a feud with Nikki Bella and John Cena and her husband, defeated Gail Kim in a tournament final to win the vacated WWE Divas Championship, the big butterfly belt. The title itself had been vacated earlier in the year in January when Melina went down with a torn ACL. With that win, Maryse became the first woman to win the Divas title more than once. Looks like we're gonna get Maryse wrestling once again in a WWE ring. I absolutely love the prospect of that. She's not a bad wrestler. It's good to see her back in there. The fact that it's a mixed tag, I'm okay with that too. You know, Nikki Bella has been showing a lot of improvement. John Cena, we know, is going to be gone very soon. Why not get Maryse back in there? Give Nikki Bella someone new to feud with. We don't know what Natalya is going to do quite yet. I have a feeling it's going to be going after Carmella for being a snitch, but we'll have to see what goes on there. And now we're going to go into your questions. As always, you can ask me a question through voicemail by calling 414-436-9686. Leave your voicemail there. We will play it live on the air here on the 414, or you can go over to AskFM/The414 Show. The link for that is in the description of this video. You can go check it out. Leave your questions for me, and I will ask them just as I'm going to answer the one right now that we got in shortly before taping, and that is, do you think Finn Balor will show up at the upcoming live events in Buffalo, New York, and Toronto, Ontario, Canada? I think he will. They've been advertising it for a while. We talked about this on the last 414 this past Sunday. You can go and check that out. The link is in the description or in the little eye in the upper right-hand corner. You click on the screen. You'll see the video drop down. You can go check that out. We talked about Finn Balor coming back, and he's being scheduled for upcoming WWE live events. And when that does happen, when Finn Balor shows up at a live event, you can sure bet that we are going to see pictures all over the internet from people's Instagrams and Twitter accounts of Finn Balor back in the ring once again. Whether or not he's going to be in there for a long match, I don't know, but I think he's going to show up at least. He's going to show up. In what capacity? I don't know yet. Who's he going to wrestle? Is he going to wrestle like Jinder Mahal or Rusev, get some sort of match under his belt just to get it going again? I don't know, but I do think that we are going to see Finn Balor once again in a WWE ring in Buffalo and Toronto. But that is all. I'm looking at our time here. That is all we've got for today. Wednesday is always the slow day when it comes to the 414. But we can make these episodes even longer. As I said, leave me your questions over on Ask FM. Don't forget to call the call-in line as well if you're not afraid to leave a voicemail for me. And if you haven't done so yet, don't forget to go check out that Patreon page. As I said, you could have had this episode much earlier in your inbox for as little as $1. $1 gets you early access to all of the 414 episodes. There are perks at the $5 and $10 level as well. And then, if you haven't done so, hit that like button on the way out. We got a lot of good news coming on down the pipe. We had a great SmackDown in 205 live last night. If you didn't check out the review of that, you can go and check that out right after you're done watching this video. And as always, do not forget to hit the subscribe button on your way out of this video. I hope to see you guys on Friday, and we're going to have quite a few more on how to fix the WWE videos coming your way very shortly. I've got some good special guests lined up. You guys are not going to want to miss it. We're going to be talking cruiserweights. We're going to be talking Raw tag teams. We're going to be talking individual wrestlers as well. But that's all we've got for today here on the 414. Until next time, this is Rusty. I'm out.
To the last defender. They